Yo, in today's video, we'll be looking at creepy and strange TikToks that are going to make you question reality. New Jersey UAPs are now firing off powerful lasers into space. Oh, wow. No, that is crazy, though. Yo.
What the heck? Did I just record? What? Alexis, I don't think that's a plane.
What is that, huh? That's crazy looking. What are they putting in the sky? Oh, dang. They got the fire hydrants just bursting. It's cold, probably. It look like they on strike.
This is gonna ice up for that.
Amazon don't care about no strike. This is what an unexcavated pyramid looks like in America. Very true. Yep, probably.
I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone because I've never seen a red subway before. Those were discontinued in like 2003.
Ain't nobody on that mub, is it? Whoa, what was that? Y'all think she in the Twilight Zone? Oh snap, what's all them lights?
You see that, Coach Q? They are all over the fucking place.
For real.
What the fuck?
Imagine just seeing all
Am I
these
seeing
lights in the
shit?
sky. Constantly flashing. It's crazy you gotta ask yourself something like that too. Am I seeing stuff? Gotta question your own self.
We have regular board meetings, like around big board tables, and we're all gathered together, and two extraterrestrials come and they sit on one end and we ask them questions, and they tell us what's been going on. So there is one fundamental aspect to working with the extraterrestrials. They absolutely insist that humans have to understand their composite nature, that the physical body is not who they are. The physical body is just nothing. It's like some clothing that you're wearing, and that you're actually inside that. This planet is being run as a prison by a group of extraterrestrials who they oppose. I call the ones that we work with the good guys, the good ETs, and the bad ones. They have written agreements with the United States government, and apparently a few other governments, to allow them to operate here on Earth, basically operating a huge, absolutely huge human trafficking operation. They're not interested in the gold or the minerals or the plant life. They want the people. And they want the beings that are inside the people, which are what we call isbes, someone who is for the purpose of being. Other people call it soul, spirit, which is just stupid because they're trying to prove that they have a soul. And everybody in the universe says, what the heck are you talking about? You are the soul. Telling us you're your body is like telling us you're your shirt. And humans have been caught in this system. This is operating literally as a prison where people can't get out. When people die, they see the light. You've heard that story a zillion times. They get drawn to the light. It's like a really strong magnetic pull. And then when they get to the light, they're zapped with an electric bolt that's way more voltage than lightning. They're totally rattled. They lose their remote viewing capability, their telepathy capability. That's normal means of communication throughout the entire galaxy. And they lose that. And then an AI comes in. It's all computerized. An AI comes in and says, we've been talking about your case with the Council of Elders. You see the Council of Elders over there? Yeah, you're a very important person, the Council of Elders. And we think that, remember that argument you had with your son or daughter and your grandmother or whatever? We think there's a couple wrinkles in your personality you need to work on. Now, with no memory, been rattled, no telepathy, no remote viewing capability, you inevitably say, sounds good to me, and that cycles you back in the system. This is a psychological prison. It's not held with bars and cement and things like that in a physical prison that we have here. It's a psychological prison. So if the psychology is broken, the prison gets broken down. The good ETs, the ones we work with, they consider everybody on Earth as their friends and relatives who were taken from them like zillions of years ago and placed here. This is also a repository for bad people. That's why we have so many crazy criminals that are pedophiles, that are perverts and things like that, violent people. Bad people get thrown here as well. But they also, because once you get in here, you can't get out, and it just keeps them out of the system. And so, but you also have the vast majority of everybody are just people who were, thrown here. Maybe they didn't pay their taxes. Maybe they did a wink to somebody's daughter, and it was a powerful bureaucrat. Maybe they, for whatever reason, they were political opponents. They were running in the guerrilla groups. They were opposing the authoritarian groups. Whatever happened, they get put here, and it's a prison that sort of keeps everybody here. And because they don't have remote viewing or natural telepathic capabilities, they can't see out of it, and they don't know that. So the ETs that are up there, you've heard a zillion reports. Everybody who's interacted with an extraterrestrial, they all say the same thing. They speak telepathically. That's how they communicate. They do not use English. They do not move their mouth and have sounds come out and then listen to their ears. They all communicate perfectly well with telepathy. They worked with us for years. And again, they didn't want to put any focus on it. They didn't want it to be public because they had a lot of stuff to do with all our remote viewers. They had to teach us how to see them. They had to teach us how to be able to talk with them, how to be able to communicate, how to have board meetings, and we all pick up whatever they say. And then they had to develop the library. The advanced remote viewing procedures that were originally developed, they were originally started with the U.S. military, but the ones that we use now are like way different. They were the ones who guided us to develop those things.
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. That's the skyline
crazy.
over there. I'm gonna see if I can film this. It keeps showing up outside. Look at that. Look at that.
Yo.
I'm gonna try to zoom in on this. Oh my gosh, do you see that? What the bro. I've seen it all over TikTok. Now I'm literally seeing them in person. This is right next to Nashville, Tennessee. Right in Nashville, Tennessee.
Stuff they don't teach you in school. Free energy. I think they probably tried to teach us this when we was kids, but we was just like, we don't care about that.
Nobody wants to speak up, so I will. So allegedly, in Antarctica, NASA just discovered what they're calling a parallel universe. Let me say that again. A parallel universe. But in this parallel universe, time flows backwards. So you telling me y'all just out there searching for cosmic particles, searching for whatever those are, and boom, you just bump into a parallel universe. So basically, in that universe that they found, everything that has to do with time is in reverse. Sort of like if you throw a ball forward, instead of the ball going forward, it'll go backward. Sort of like if you spill a can of soda, instead of the soda going down, it'll go up. So that makes sense to y'all? Because what's going on, man? You know what's crazy? Anytime that I'm talking about stuff like this, I always revert back to going to sleep. Because sleeping is the weirdest thing to me that is here with us on this planet. Like when we go to sleep, you don't know where the hell you be. And you be places.
You really don't.
You be places everywhere. And then you wake up and you like, where was I? I was there. And it felt like you was there. So what if? Just what if? Oh man. Here's the thing, right? We all know about Antarctica. And when we talk about Antarctica, we can't talk about Antarctica. So them saying that they found this in Antarctica, I believe it, one. And two, they've been new. It's too much shit going on that we are seeing right now. Like 2024. Made another video last night that I ain't even drop. I'm about to drop it in a few. But let me tell you something. 2024 is opening up the door for 2025 to be the craziest year that we might ever see. This shit is crazy.
Am I tripping, or is there a car in the sky?
I mean, you might be tripping. You know what I'm saying? We'll solve an unsolved Mandela effect on my 2024 bingo card, but here we are. So they said Tinkerbell. Wait a minute. That's crazy. Yo, what was that? What was that? That was crazy.
The Earth is flat, stationary, and enclosed by a glass dome known as the firmament, which contains the sun, moon, and stars, all of which move, not the Earth. Above and below are waters. This isn't a conspiracy. If satellites were really in space, why would we need communication towers in the middle of the ocean? A compass only functions properly on a flat surface to differentiate between north, east, south, and west. Water always stays level and contained, with the Arctic Circle and Antarctica acting as barriers that hold the oceans in. The solid glass dome or firmament keeps the air inside, creating a sealed, airtight environment. The Earth doesn't spin at millions of miles per hour like a ball. The sounds of thunder booms are produced when solid objects shift. Even world leaders know this truth, as shown by the flat Earth map on the UN logo. Once again, it's the sun, moon, and stars that rotate from east to west, not the Earth. The people who taught you that the Earth is a globe are fully aware of and believe in the flat, enclosed system we all live in and that no one can leave. We're told that we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting the sun in the heliocentric model at 66,600 miles per hour. On top of that, we're supposedly chasing the sun through space at nearly 500,000 miles per hour. According to this model, we're spiraling through an infinite universe, never in the same place twice. Now consider the Georgia Guidestones, which had a small hole drilled through one of the central stones. If you looked through that hole, you would always see Polaris, the North Star. But how could we be moving in so many directions, traveling vast distances, and yet that star remains perfectly aligned in the hole? It should shift out of sight constantly, yet it stayed in place for 40 years until one day someone blew up the monument. They say Earth spins eastward at 1,600 kilometers per hour at the equator. So here's a question. How does a plane flying eastward at just 800 kilometers per hour reach its destination? Shouldn't the ground be moving too fast for the plane to catch up? And what about landing? Imagine trying to land a plane safely on a runway that's supposedly zipping along at 1,600 kilometers per hour. Sounds risky, doesn't it?
Right.
The official explanation is that Earth's atmosphere is stuck to the planet, held by gravity despite the vacuum of space above it. But think about this. If Earth were a spinning ball, pilots would constantly need to adjust for the curve. At 800 kilometers per hour, a plane would have to lower its nose by around 850 meters per minute to stay on course with Earth's curvature. Otherwise, it would be flying higher and higher, reaching about 50,000 meters in just an hour. Yet pilots don't make these constant adjustments. Once they reach cruising altitude, they level off and maintain a steady course until it's time to descend. No constant corrections for Earth's curve, just a straight level flight path. Doesn't that raise questions? If Earth were really spinning and curving, wouldn't we see constant course corrections? But we don't. It's a compelling clue that maybe things aren't what we've been taught. What do you think? If you're curious to dive deeper into these ideas, make sure to check out more videos on this page.
I'm just saying, man. Hope you guys just enjoyed your first course in flat earthology. Is that even a word?
We're standing outside of Yankee Stadium, where less than 24 hours ago, New Yorkers spotted yet another mysterious drone hovering over the South Bronx. Now, New York Governor Kathy Hochul says there's no evidence that shows that these drones are a threat to the public, but across the Hudson River, Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey says he's taking his concerns straight to the president.
This is over my house right now.
They appear only at night. Clusters of drones, some with colorful lights, as big as cars.
Wait, literally there's one right above us?
In New Jersey, unexplained drone activity was reported above this naval weapons station, while farther north, the FAA ordered temporary flight restrictions prohibiting drones over Picatinny Arsenal, where armament research is conducted, and Trump National Golf Club. Since last month, more than 3,000 sightings have grown to at least 6 states across the East Coast, and so has the chorus of officials demanding answers. Senator Andy Kim spotted these over a park in Hunterdon County, New Jersey.
I've never seen them.
Wow, they just passed each other.
I'm just not getting the kind of communication and engagement when it comes to the investigation that's happening by the FBI, Homeland Security. So we need a lot more communication to the people of New Jersey.
But the White House says many of the reports may have been planes, not drones.
We have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings.
That hasn't convinced the Sheriff's Department in Ocean County, New Jersey. We went along with their drone unit as they conducted their own investigation.
If they didn't put their lights on, no one would be looking, right?
Right.
And they're putting their lights so they want you to see.
Their tactical drones easily outmaneuvered by the mysterious objects in the sky.
That drone sped away at reportedly 60 miles an hour. Our drones only go 40.
Yeah.
And it went 60 and shows lights. You know, the thing is, it's troublesome.
Sam Vinograd used to run counter-drone policy at the Department of Homeland Security.
Panic among the public, from my perspective, does impose a public safety threat. And the longer these drone sightings continue, the longer the public doesn't have answers. And tonight, President-elect Donald Trump is weighing in as well. In a post on Truth Social, he wrote to the federal government, and I quote, "Let the public know and now." Otherwise, he called for the drones to be shot down. Margaret?
Tom, thank you.
So that means they know what it is, right? Things that make you go, think about this, y'all. Think about this, right? Right. One of our fastest planes ever goes 932 miles per hour. Phew. Right? But they tell us that this spaceship can go 17,000 miles per hour. That big clunky, old school Cadillac goes 17,000 miles per hour. Explain why Elon and Vivek are labeled as meddling, unelected billionaires, but it's okay for George Soros. Ooh, do he got a point there? Was there a race of ant people 12,000 years ago? I've heard this before about some ant people, but I just think that these buildings are old, and something happened to them, and they didn't look like this before whatever happened to them. They might have looked like New York or something like that. Like that joint was probably Melt it down. Because think about it, right? If this is supposed to be old and there's some ancient people who live here apparently, right? They just gonna carve into the rock?
What happens to them research monkeys that got loose like a month ago? Down south. It was like 20 of them.
Wait, what?
That shit just faded to black.
What? Planet of the Apes in the making?
If you cover your left eye and look up, it turns off the part of your brain that holds anxiety. How easy and ridiculous can that be? It's so cool. So when you're finding yourself anxious and just totally in your head, cover your left eye, look up. I would add, take a deep breath and just feel yourself calm down.
The United States government knew about the ET presence no later than July of 1947, Roswell. Made the decision at that time to keep that from the American people. Fine. Almost exactly 5 years later to the week, there was a significant flyover of Washington, D.C. The U.S. government had a problem. General John Sanford made the response for the government, which was equivocative, but not unreasonable. But also there came a response from Donald Keogh, who flat out said, these are extraterrestrials. It's not human. Again, the government made the decision to keep this from the American people. 10 years later, 1962, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis, where we almost had a nuclear war. Only 4 years after that, these craft started appearing over our nuclear facilities and shutting our nuclear weapons down. How many times this happened in the 60s, we don't know. Because the Air Force probably at some point was able to keep a much tighter rein on the outcome. But witnesses for a number of these shutdowns came forward. They have been trying to testify before Congress for 30 years, which is when they initially made the decision to start coming forward, led by Captain Robert Salas. The government has not allowed them to testify, and in fact, it has virtually ghosted them. It was about the only thing they could do. All right. And so that was in the 60s. Again, the government kept this from the American people. Decades went on. And then we start to approach what I think is the end game, the end of the truth embargo. And we start moving into that 7-year period, starting in 2017. But it's not been easy. It's been slow. There's been pushback. There's been some wins and losses, but we are moving toward disclosure without question. However, we are also moving toward nuclear war.
What?
Just that one thing alone is enough to be justification for more action from them. And so as we stall on the disclosure process, we suddenly have what the history will call the era of the drone swarms, the drone swarm flap. Let me take you back to May 17th of 2022. At that time, we had a hearing in front of the subcommittee of the Intelligence Committee in the Senate. Scott Bray and Ronald Moultrie. It was the first hearing, by the way, since the last one in 1968. So we're talking 54 years. So that's progress. And they came in, they were working for the UAP task force, and they testified. It wasn't, grandiose. It was kind of basic. A lot of people were not satisfied. But at that hearing, you may recall, a video was presented, a video that had emerged not too long before the hearing was held. And it involved a drone swarm around one of our ships at night, not over New Jersey, not over the UK, not over some part of the United States, but over one of our ships at night. And they did not shoot them down. In fact, they didn't do anything. And the only reason we got that film is because, well, a lot of sailors have cameras. They're allowed to take cameras with them, and somebody filmed it, and it got in our hands. And Scott Bray, tried to explain it, but it was really painful. So the drone swarm era goes all the way back to 2022, and it has been escalating ever since. And so here is my conclusion. The extraterrestrials have lost their patience, and the risk to us as a civilization has only increased. And so they decided we're going to end this nonsense. And so they are doing incursions, using their devices, whatever they are, not just in one place, not in two places, not on one continent, multiple continents. And the U.S. government knows it. And what do you do? Here's what they do, right? You can't shoot them down. They know they're extraterrestrial, I can assure you, right? Trying to shoot down extraterrestrial craft of any kind or orbs of any kind, you end up killing human beings, and it's hopeless. You don't want to send up piloted craft because they can crash. So you send up your own drones to somehow monitor them as best you can. And so what you're seeing is a mix of military drones and non-human craft entities of whatever type they want, engaging in some, I guess, process, probably mostly surveillance by us of them. And that is all the government can do. And so what the ETs and their genius have done is put the United States government, the UK government, in an impossible position finally. In other words, we can't tell you what they really are, though we know, but we can't stop them from doing this. And they continue to do it, and they will continue to do it. And the pressure on the government, the embarrassment for the government will become excruciating. And those people within the United States government that somehow have decided that we will never know this truth as long as they walk this face of the earth will finally just capitulate. To the growing number of people within our government think it's time we know the truth about this. And so this is an ET-driven intervention to get us into the post-disclosure world before we blow ourselves to hell. The current engagement of it is to send up our own drones to try to, I don't know, follow them, do what we can. The whole thing is a giant fiasco, and it only leads one way, right? There's so many of these things can go on, and so many members of the Senate or the House or the DOD that have to come out with ridiculously idiotic answers and make complete fools of themselves before they realize if we would end this truth embargo, we could stop making fools of ourselves and our government and move on with civilization. That's the narrative that I'm using for this. I'm very comfortable with it, but I certainly invite those that disagree.
So here's the thing, right? We have ETs, right? We make aircraft like them. They make aircraft similar to ours, right? What if these drones that we see flying around, right? These drones have a little red and green little light on there. What if they just got that technology from us just to let us know, like, hey, man, we're going to be flying in your airways. There's nothing you can do. We'll just put the lights on there just to help you out so you can see us, you know what I'm saying, so you don't crash your aircraft. But, hey, we're going to be out there. So then, you know, we're out here thinking, it's the government's, but really it's not even theirs. It's the ETs, but yet they just make craft similar to ours. I don't know, that thought just came about. But yeah, guys, these are some of the most strange and creepy TikToks that are out there. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bells on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.